אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש, אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש. שבתי שבתי בבית אדוני, שבתי שבתי כל ימי חיי, לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בהיכלו, לחזות בנועם אדוני, to gaze upon the beauty of Adonai. One thing, I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. One thing, I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life.
We begin on page 135. We thank you, living and eternal one, for morning light, for the breath within us, for strength and life renewed. Now it opens before us, the Sabbath of Sabbaths, gift of spacious contemplation, mirror for the soul. May we see our lives reflected in this still, clear pool, a day apart, unhurried time, an undivided mind. Give us joy in this day that Israel shares. Give us presence and attention, clear vision, a listening heart. We wake to the morning, we open our eyes, we breathe your name. Let us turn to page 178. If you're able, please rise. We pray together, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hapoteach lanu sha'arei rachamim, umeir einei hamchakim lislichato, yotzer or uvarei choshech, oseh shalom uvarei et hakol, or olam be'otzar chaim, orot me'ofel amar vayihi, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit. Ma'rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chokma asita, mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or sha'asita yafarucha selah.
אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר מאורות.
182, love abundant, love unstinting. Our God, you have enfolded us in love. Tender compassion beyond all bounds, your precious gift. Our fathers and mothers gave you their trust, and you gave them Torah, laws by which to live. For their sake, teach us as well. Grace us with your guidance. Loving Father, merciful Mother of us all, grant us clear understanding that we may listen, learn, and teach, preserve, practice, and fulfill with love every lesson of your Torah. May learning your Torah light up our eyes. May our hearts embrace your mitzvot. Unite us in love and reverence for you, that we may never feel ashamed of our deeds. We have trusted in your great and holy name. Now let us celebrate at last the joy of your salvation. Bring us in peace from the four corners of the earth. Lead us with the upright pride to the land that is ours. For you are a God of miracles and wonders. From all the peoples of the earth, you sought us out and brought us near to your great, enduring truth. So with love, we acknowledge and proclaim that you are one.
ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Emet v'yatziv on page 193. Emet v'yatziv, true and enduring, all else is fluid, impermanent, fleeting. Unsteady we falter, in chaos we cry, in quest for some certainty, an anchor for trust. Sur chayenu magen yishenu, God of our lives, our shield and protector, you are the constant abiding through time. The rock whose works speak of wholeness and justice, you, the still center, fixed point where we stand. From the ends of the earth, from the depths of despair, we call with the psalmist to our fortress and refuge, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Our rock and salvation, our shelter and strength, grounded in you, we shall never be shaken. The towers of cities will crumble with age, and iron corrodes and decays into rust. But the words and teachings that echo from Sinai are true and enduring. Forever they stand.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נערות אילות אוסף אליי. יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני אלוה לעולם עד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופתח חינומך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל. שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El HaGadol, HaGibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים וכותבנו בספר החיים למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים וחסד מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו אישנה יפל. מי כמוך בגבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך הרחמים זוכר יצוריו לחיים ורחמים ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל.
On Rosh Hashanah it is written, on Yom Kippur it is sealed. Who will live and who will die? We don't know. Life is chaotic. Life in a pandemic is especially chaotic. And so where do we find God in this chaos? Our Unatana Tokef tells us, Uteshuva utfila utzedakah, with repair of our relationships, in righteous giving and righteous living, in heartfelt prayer and study and reflection. That's where we find the order in the chaos. Unatane Tokef is on page 208.
וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון, כמה יעברון וכמה יברון, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. מי יחיה ומי ימות, מי וקיצו ומי לא וקיצו, מי באש ומי במים, מי בחרב ומי בחיה, מי ברב ומי בצמא, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. מי בראש ומי במגפה, מי בחניקה ומי בסקילה, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. מי ינוח ומי ינוח, מי שקט ומי יטרף, מי ישלב ומי יתייסר, מי עני ומי ישלב, מי ישפל ומי ירום, ותשובה ותפילה וצדקה, מעבירין את רוע הגזרה.
But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree. You are everything that we praise you for, slow to anger, quick to forgive. You do not wish the death of sinners, but urge them to return from their ways and live. Until the day of death, you wait for them. You accept them at once if they return. Since you created us, you know our impulses. We are but flesh and blood. We who are mortal, our origin is dust, and so is our end. We wear out our lives to get our bread, like broken vessels, like withered grass, like a flower that must fade, a shadow moving on, a cloud passing by, mere dust on the wind, a dream that flies away. But for you, ever-living sovereign, time has no limits. Your presence, unbounded by days and years, is everywhere. A glorious mystery none can decipher. Your name is worthy of you, and you are worthy of your name. And our name you have linked with yours.
כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר Adonai, Adonai, Madir Shimcha, Madir Shimcha, Bechol Haaretz. Baruch Kavod Adonai Mimkomo. Echad Hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Malkeinu Hu Moshiachenu Ve'hu Yashmi'enu Berachamav Le'nei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem Himelech Adonai le'olam Elohayich Tzion Ledor vador Hallelujah Ledor vador nagid godlecha ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש לשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש קדוש אתה ונורא שמך ואין אלוה מבלעדיך ככתוב ויגבר אדוני צבאות במשפט והאל הקדוש נקדש בצדקה ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש.
We continue with our prayers privately, the prayers of our hearts, the prayers of the pages, the interpretations, the commentaries from page 230 to 248.
Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, Tova uveracha, Chel v'chesed, v'rachamim, Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael lecha, Sim shalom, sim shalom.
What a first year as your rabbi. For the first half a year or so, it was an honor to get to meet many people face to face. And then, well, you know what happened. So today, let me reintroduce myself to those who I've not met yet, but not in the typical way of, I'm from St. Louis, I like to play guitar, I have 2 sons, 1 dog, 1 wife. I would like to introduce myself by giving a spiritual biography of sorts. I would like to tell you my story, or part of my story, of my relationship with God. It's hard for us contemporary Jews to talk openly about our belief in the divine. I'm not even sure what this word belief means when it comes to this, but I think many of us have had encounters and experiences where they feel a sense of transcendence or connection. So I'm not going to try to prove that God exists in the form that our ancestors believed, but I do know that I have felt many times in my life that I have been suffused with something that is within myself, that is also beyond myself, something that gives order, connection, gives a meaning to my life. If we engage Jews with their own personal experiences and talk about our own experiences of the divine, I say the divine because sometimes using the G word can be too loaded, and show through example that Jewish living can lead to these experiences, then I feel people will want to remain Jews. So I'm giving this as an invitation to you to open up with your language about the divine. As Arthur Green writes, Rabbi Arthur Green, the religious person is one who perceives or experiences holiness in the encounter with existence. The forms of religious life are intended to evoke this sense of the holy. So it starts with my experience and sharing that experience. As the writer and minister Frederick Buckner writes, all theology, like all fiction, is at its heart autobiography. And so here is part of my autobiography. When I began my first days at university, at Tulane University, it was very hot. Hot outside because it was New Orleans in August. But I also always felt hot inside air-conditioned buildings. I was sweating constantly. Moving away from home and meeting new people is hard in and of itself, but I was finding that it was something that made me very nervous. I couldn't concentrate in class, I couldn't sleep well, I was losing a lot of weight, I was irritable, and my hands were beginning to shake periodically. I thought that I was having a nervous breakdown. When I returned home for Thanksgiving break, my parents sent me to the doctor. He took one look at me and then diagnosed me with Graves' disease. It's a thyroid disorder. There was too much thyroid hormone in my body, and it caused the somewhat harmonious system of my body to be out of balance. So once I started the treatment for my body's disorder, I set about reestablishing order and balance in life. I became engaged with Jewish life on campus, became a leader in Hillel. I began attending Shabbat services. The consistency of the prayers, the ritual, the order became comforting. It wasn't necessarily the words of the prayers, it was the action of doing them that helped bring healing to my unbalanced life. Prayer and praying is something that became very important to me. And it is something I continued as I entered rabbinical school, trying to attend not just Shabbat, but daily services. The task of following our ancient order of prayers with its rituals and ritual garb, marking the holiness of the moment, centered me every day, helped give my life direction, order. My disease, my thyroid disorder, was just that, something that disordered my universe. It's amazing how one biochemical, and I know this is simplifying the biology, but it's amazing how this can disrupt our whole being. We humans crave order. The opening chapter of our Torah is about creation being the ordering of chaos. God creates this order in the universe. Religion, Judaism helps us realize and create the systems of order in our chaotic world. We try to bring cosmos to chaos. My encounter with my hormonal disease resulted in, to paraphrase a title of one of my favorite movies, How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love to Pray. When I strive for order and experience it through acts of ritual and prayer, I give thanks. Baruch Achdut Ha'olam, blessed is the unity of the universe that unites all of us. Blessed is this search for order. This search for order, how beautifully ordered the universe can be, also comes to us from an ancient midrash. Our ancient rabbis were debating, talking about why was Abraham picked by God. So one rabbi told this story. There was a man traveling from place to place, and he saw a dira doleket, a mansion that was glowing, beautiful big building. And he said, is it possible that this mansion is without someone who owns it? And the owner of the mansion looked out at him and said, I am the owner of the mansion. So too, our father Abraham said, is it possible that this ordered world doesn't have an orderer? And God looked out at him and said, I am the master of the world. But, friends, there's another way to read this midrash. Because the same word glowing mansion can be seen as a mansion aflame, a mansion on fire. There was a man traveling from place to place, and he saw this mansion burning down. He said, is it possible that this mansion is without someone responsible for it? The owner of the mansion, inside the mansion, looked out at him and said, I am the owner. So too, our father Abraham said, is it possible that the world is without someone responsible? God looked out at him and said, I am the master of the world. What does it mean that God's the master of the world? Because right now, the world is not ordered. Maybe the world is never ordered. Maybe it takes a lot of privilege to see the world as ordered. The world is in chaos. Who is responsible? I see this chaos all around us. I feel this disorder. I don't know if I could have this comfort that prayer, study helps me see the world as ordered. Maybe it's not. Maybe seeing order is only for the truly privileged. What if order is an illusion and chaos is the norm? I feel that sometimes. I am afraid of the unknown, like many of us. Anybody I see on the street can be a spreader of this deadly virus. The America that we know might be built on a house of cards. I'm not trying to scare you, but there are sometimes when I'm trying to sleep, when this is my experience, chaos. So where is God? Abraham sees God in a burning building. So let me give another part of my spiritual biography. A while back, I read an article in the late great Reformed Judaism magazine about the study and practice of Mussar, a practice in Jerusalem to study, or a practice in Judaism to study works of virtuous living, study the midot, the virtues like humility, patience, like joy, like loving kindness. I began to study different works, and then I became involved in the Mussar Institute that taught me how to teach these works to Jews, but not just the works, practices of journaling, practices of looking inside ourselves, looking at our own midot, our own virtues, so that we can serve others. Mussar is about serving the other. The founder of the Mussar movement, Yisrael Salanter, lived in the 19th century in Lithuania. My favorite story about him is this. He was once at a lunch at a wealthy donor's house, and before they eat, it's traditional to wash your hands ritually. And the servant, a woman, comes in with a pitcher of water, and the rabbi just takes a little bit of the water. And the rich man turns to him and says, "Rabbi, why don't you take all the water you want? I'm a rich man, I have what I need. I have more than enough." And the rabbi said, "Well, who brings the water?" And he said, "Well, my servant, of course, brings the water." "And where does she get the water?" "Oh, the well that's down the hill." The rabbi said, "Well, if I use all the water I want, she'll have to go down the hill again and bring up the heavy basin. This is sufficient for the blessing." Rabbi Salanter saw the face of the servant, saw her toils, and he knew how he could serve her in that moment, how he can serve the servant. He saw God in her face. Mussar has taught me that spirituality is not just about praying and studying and what we think of, quote, spiritual things. Spirituality is looking at another person and seeing the image of God and knowing that you have infinite obligations to that person, and then trying your hardest to do something about that. This is where I try to find God in this chaos right now. Being there for others, being a mensch, even when we can't get too close to others. I wear my mask. I try to see it as a spiritual practice. I am serving the others around me. It's hard to find God in the chaos. But if we look into the eyes of others, maybe in a Zoom room, maybe through a mask, if we squint a little bit, we can find God in this chaos. Shana Tova.
One thing, I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. One thing, I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai, achat sha'alti אותה אבקש, אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש.